Incredible twist, single mom's heartwarming journey exposed after rejection, leading to a life-changing event. Every morning in Maplewood, Nebraska, the air smelled like bacon and fresh coffee, and Sarah Harris wore her apron like a badge of honor. Juggling pancakes on the griddle while keeping an eye on her two children, Tommy and Emma, felt like navigating a circus act, and she was the ringmaster. She relished those early moments, the chatter of regulars filling the diner like an embrace. Yet, beneath her smile lay a heart that longed for a better life, one where judgment didn't lurk behind every friendly face, whispering how single mothers weren't worth a second glance in a town that celebrated farms and soldiers. But then, silence shattered her routine. One Friday after work, her boss, red-eyed from the weight of hard decisions, called her into the office. "I'm so sorry, Sarah. We have to let you go." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. The diner's familiar hum faded, leaving an echoing void where hope had flourished just moments before. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but in Maplewood, that same village could cast a shadow over the struggles of single parents like her. As the news spread, Sarah could feel the judgment wafting through the air, those sympathetic glances now tinged with pity. She hurried home, pushing down the knot in her throat, holding tight to Tommy and Emma, fear gnawing at her stomach as bills piled up. With no choices left, she decided to reach out to her father, a man wrapped in echoes from the past. He'd been gone for years, fleeing after his own battles with demons from his time in the service. The relationships they could have built felt like stone walls between them, heavy and cold. Yet, this desperate situation drew her into the darkness of memories, ones she wished she could forget. As the summer festival approached, Sarah prepared herself for the inevitable meetup. The flickering lights and laughter around the square masked her anxiety. It was during that festival, basked in colored lights, sweetness, and the smell of popcorn, that her troubles broke free during an unexpected moment. An empathetic neighbor shared her plight in a heartfelt speech, revealing the struggles that had become heavy weights on her shoulders. Moments later, the crowd roared into sympathetic applause, a surprising torrent of support. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue, but that applause came with another wave. The veterans from her father's old circles rallied together. They called her, sent support, and she watched family bonds stitched together at a pace her heart struggled to keep up with. Would these men heal the wounds between her and her father? Would they lift her from the chaos of rejection she felt in her own town? As the festival fireworks lit the sky in vibrant colors, Sarah's heart raced. Hope mingled with anxiety as she stood at the precipice of forgiveness and fear. Would she let her father's friends bridge the gaps, or would this simply deepen the cracks that already existed? She had to decide, could they truly redefine family, or would it all come crashing down? The answer hung palpably in the air, just as the final burst of colors faded into the night. In that moment, Sarah was left staring into the unknown, her heart both heavy and hopeful. The days following the festival felt different. The cool autumn air mixed with the scent of falling leaves stirred something within Sarah. The applause still echoed in her mind, igniting hope that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as alone as she once thought. Tommy and Emma noticed the change too. Their laughter was brighter, and the way they clung to her as they walked home from school made her heart swell. The heaviness of her unemployment still pressed down, but the connection with her father's old friends felt like a ray of light piercing the clouds that had been hanging over her for so long. Would they really help her? One chilly afternoon, Sarah stood in her kitchen, surrounded by the chaos of crayons and cookie dough. The soft chatter of her kids filled the air as she unconsciously rolled out the dough. Every sound, every giggle reminded her of how they had faced challenges before. That resilience surged within her. They would navigate this storm together. She could feel a shift happening, and it encouraged her to reach out to the veterans who had stepped forward at the festival. Her first call went to Jack, a stout man with a booming voice, who had known her father well. She hesitated before dialing. The anxiety was palpable. Would he think she was burdening him? But a voice in her head told her the community was there to uplift, not to push away. "Sarah. How are you?" He boomed after answering, his warmth spilling through the phone like sunshine on a winter day. "Jack, I really appreciate all the support you and the others showed at the festival. I'm hoping we could talk. Maybe brainstorm ideas?" Her voice wavered, uncertainty creeping in. "Absolutely. We all want to help. Why don't you come by the community center this Saturday? We'll gather some resources, maybe brainstorm a business idea," Jack suggested. A rush of relief washed over her. "Thank you, Jack. I'll be there." As she hung up, her mind raced with possibilities. What business could she start? A café? A bakery? The familiar scents of coffee and pastries stroked her imagination, whispering sweet promises. Still, doubt clouded her excitement. Could she really pull it off? Saturday arrived swiftly. Sarah walked into the community center, her heart beating rapidly. A small group was gathered, veterans who had seen struggles of a different kind. Their spirit lifted as they encouraged each other, sharing stories and laughter. She felt a small spark ignite inside her, a possibility that she could intertwine her dreams with this newfound support. "All right, folks," Jack announced as she joined the circle. "Let us hear from Sarah. What is your vision?" The room fell silent, all eyes on her. The weight of expectation settled on her shoulders, but this time it felt like motivation rather than pressure. With a deep breath, she allowed her excitement to spill out. "I want to create a community space where families can come together and feel welcome, a cafe that supports single parents, offers job skills, and helps kids with their homework." She could see it in their eyes, a reflection of her hope. Encouragement bubbled up as ideas flowed, bouncing around the room. Names, designs, recipes. Each suggestion layered on her emerging vision, building something alive in the air. But from among the supportive murmurs, a thorny voice shifted the energy. "How do you plan to fund it?" came a query from a skeptic in the back. Sarah felt her heart sink, but the flicker of hope was still beating. "Maybe we can look for grants or community funding," she replied, nodding, striving to find strength in challenge. Would this skepticism become a wall or just another hurdle? The uncertainty lingered as conversations resumed, but Sarah knew one thing for sure: she was ready to face whatever came next. As the meeting concluded, the support around her fostered a flame deep within her soul, yet, as she left the center, Sarah noticed that familiar twisting anxiety creeping back in. Could she truly turn this vision into a reality? Would the town, her village, rally behind her, or would fear and old judgments persist? That night, she lay awake, her mind swirling, the pulse of hope battling against doubts. What if she dared to dream and failed? But deeper still, what if she didn't try at all? The next step loomed before her, filled with potential and peril. Could she weave her dreams with the threads of community, or would she remain a figure of solitude in the shadows of Maplewood? As her heart wrestled with fear, she knew a fuller revelation awaited her, just around the corner. What lay ahead would define not just her future, but the very fabric of her family's story, tangled and beautiful, just like life itself. The morning sun painted the kitchen in golden hues, warmth spilling through the windows like a gentle hug. Sarah moved around, preparing breakfast for Tommy and Emma. Their sleepy faces emerging from their rooms felt like a burst of joy, igniting her determination. Today was a day of possibilities, and she refused to let doubt cloud the vision she had started to build. After breakfast, she decided to tackle the moment of uncertainty head-on. Sarah made a list of potential funding sources. Grants, sponsorships, community donations. She wrote each one down with fervor, each stroke of the pen driving her closer to her dream. But the rhythm of her thoughts was interrupted by a sharp knock on the door. Startled, she rushed to answer it, her heart skipping. Standing at the threshold was Ella, a single mom from the neighborhood who had been through her own share of struggles. With a warm smile and a coffee cup in hand, she looked like a breath of fresh air. "Hey, Sarah. Got a minute?" Ella asked, her enthusiasm seeping into the chilly morning. "Of course. Come in," Sarah replied, stepping back to allow her friend inside. They settled at the kitchen table, and Ella leaned in, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "I heard about your idea at the community center. It sounds incredible. But I also heard some whispers of doubt from that guy. Has it shaken you at all?" Sarah sighed, her heartbeat steadying as if the question released her pent-up anxieties. "Yeah, it has. It's like every time I feel good about it, someone throws a shadow over it. I keep wondering if this is just a wild fantasy." Ella reached out and placed a hand over Sarah's. "You know, we all have those voices in our heads. But when your heart speaks, you need to listen. If you don't pursue this, you might be closing a door that could open to something beautiful." The warmth radiating from Ella's affirmation cascaded through Sarah, reminding her of the purpose that had sparked within her. "I don't want to fail. Not again as a mom, as an entrepreneur. Failure is just a stepping stone, Sarah. Tell me, what excites you most about this project?" Ella urged, encouraging her to shine. "The idea of creating a space where families can gather, parents can learn, and kids can thrive. It feels like nurturing a whole community," Sarah confessed, her enthusiasm blooming. "Then you go for it. Let that fire inside of you guide you. And if you need help, I'm in," Ella declared, her voice steady. The tension eased from Sarah's shoulders, and they spent the next hour brainstorming, tossing around ideas that felt like seeds ready to bloom. The laughter and energy wrapped around them, alleviating her fears one thought at a time. A glimmer of inspiration struck. "What if I host a small community meeting? Informal, like a coffee chat. If people can see my vision for the café, maybe they'll be inspired to contribute." Ella's eyes lit up at the suggestion. "Yes. This could be just what you need to get the momentum going. You'd be surprised at how many people want to help, especially when they see your passion." With newfound determination, Sarah grabbed her phone and quickly concocted a message, inviting neighbors for a gathering at her home. As she clicked send, her heartbeat quickened with anticipation. Later that afternoon, whispers of excitement replaced her earlier anxiety. A gathering, a community conversation. It felt right, but the very next day, just as Sarah was preparing her home for the meeting, a troubling thought crept into her mind. What if the same skeptic showed up? What if others echoed that doubt? As she prepared the coffee and snacks, her mind raced. Would she have answers for the tough questions? What if they doubted her vision? With each minute ticking closer to the meeting, Sarah wondered if she could truly bear the weight of that scrutiny. Would her dreams be crushed or lifted? As she stood by the door, waiting for her neighbors to arrive, a rush of determination mixed with fear flooded her veins. The moment of truth was near. Would she be ready? And in that charged silence, something profound beckoned within her. This was it, the chance to show not just her community, but herself, what she was capable of. What would happen when the door finally opened and everyone stepped into her living room? Would they rally together, or would doubt reign supreme? The doorbell chimed, sharp and clear, slicing through Sarah's racing thoughts. With a deep breath, she swung the door open, her heart pounding like a drum. The first neighbors arrived, Lisa and Mark, a couple who lived 2 doors down, bright and eager. Lisa, with her curly hair and sunny disposition, was holding a plate of cookies, while Mark brought a floral arrangement that he insisted was nothing special but looked lovely nonetheless. Their smiles broke through Sarah's shroud of anxiety and they poured into her home like sunlight. "Wow, this place looks great," Lisa exclaimed, taking in a carefully arranged table with coffee and snacks. "Thanks. I wanted it to feel cozy and welcoming," Sarah responded, her tension easing a little. As more neighbors trickled in, Tom from next door, juggling his toddler, and Jenna, bringing a stack of flyers about family-friendly events, Sarah felt the warmth of community resonate around her. Laughter filled the room. Soon, her cozy living room was buzzing, and Sarah found her voice as she greeted everyone. Thank you all for coming today. I'm excited to share my vision for the café. It's more than just a place to grab a latte, it's about community, growth, and supporting one another. Then, her gaze flickered to the door. What if the skeptic, Doug, slipped in while she was focused on the others? Her stomach twisted, but she pushed the thought aside. After a few introductions, Sarah gathered their attention. I have something I want to show you all. She reached for her notes, her palms sweating, and shared her dreams with passion. Her slides displayed sketches of what the café would look like, filled with vibrant colors, families laughing, and kids playing. As she spoke, she saw hearts open and faces light up. Some nodded in agreement, the discussions ignited a flurry of ideas. Sarah breathed easier, feeling the pulse of excitement weave through them all. Just as she began to feel a sense of control, the door swung open once more. Heads turned. Doug stood there, his posture rigid, eyebrows furrowed, the skepticism she had feared radiating from him like an unwelcome chill. Nice space you've got here, but, he interjected, crossing his arms, are you sure you can pull this off? It sounds a little too ambitious, don't you think? A moment of silence followed, thick and tense. Sarah felt her stomach drop, her earlier joy threatened. The gaze of her neighbors shifted between her and Doug. She could feel the weight of their judgment hanging in the room like a low cloud, but instead of crumbling under the pressure, something inside her sparked. She reminded herself of Ella's words, about letting her heart speak. I appreciate your concern, Doug, she began, gathering all her courage. But I believe in this vision. It's not just about coffee, it's about building a community and a safe space for our families. The murmurs around the room began to blend into a chorus of support, voices rising. Yeah, Sarah's right. We need this. Someone shouted from the back. Sarah felt a rush of energy, fueled by their encouragement. She looked at Doug directly, her expression steady. And if I fail, then that's on me. But I want to try, and I hope you can see the potential here. The tension shifted, and Doug's expression faltered. He opened his mouth, perhaps to respond, but was met by the overwhelming nods and supportive comments from those surrounding him. Sarah's heart raced, at once terrified yet exhilarated. Each word ignited a fire in her belly. She hadn't just been fighting for her dream, she was standing for every dreamer who had been doubted. As the conversation pivoted from doubt to dreams, Sarah caught Ella's eye from across the room. A smile bloomed on both their faces, an unspoken understanding this was turning into something beautiful, but as the discussions deepened, another thought hung heavy in Sarah's mind. What if the support was fleeting? What if doubt lingered even among her friends? And beneath the laughter, hope, and cautious cheers, a question nibbled at her resolve: would this community fully embrace her vision, or would the shadows of skepticism loom over her dreams again? Sarah stood in the middle of the room, family and friends buzzing around her, laughter filling the spaces between breaths. It felt surreal, as if she were floating in a cocoon of support despite Doug's harsh words. But the more she engaged with her neighbors, sharing ideas and hearing their thoughts, the more she oscillated between gratitude and fear. Let us brainstorm. What should we include in the café? Sarah urged, her voice laced with enthusiasm. Hands shot up. Ideas flowed like rivers: community book clubs, art classes for kids, and weekend music nights. Each suggestion built on the last, a tapestry of dreams woven from shared hopes. She could almost see the café taking shape in her mind, filled with parents sipping coffee while their children sprawled out on colorful rugs, painting or playing together. That sounds amazing. Jenna chimed, her eyes sparkling. We can even have a corner for local artists to showcase their work. As the discussion swirled around her, Sarah felt herself blend into the momentum. Every voice lifted her spirits higher, every new idea anchored her shaky resolve, but suddenly, Doug's voice cut through the chatter again. Are people really going to come here? I just don't see it. He was like a rain cloud overshadowing her sunny day. The energy shifted, and she felt the warmth in the room flicker, just for a moment. Her heart sank as whispers hesitated. Why not? Tom shot back, his toddler nestled comfortably in his arms. If it's what we need, we'll make it work. We'll all be here to help. Sarah's resolve strengthened. She took a deep breath, meeting Doug's gaze directly, her heart pounding. I know change can be daunting, she said. But we won't know unless we try. We'll foster connections, support one another. That's what community is about, isn't it? She paused, allowing her words to echo. Slowly, the room filled with nods, murmurs of encouragement. Hope slipped back in, Lisa chimed in again. Exactly. We support each other through thick and thin. I believe this cafe can be the heart of our block. There it was, the spark she needed. Not just a bright idea, but a fire fueled by unity. Sarah wanted this cafe not just for herself but for them, a place where laughter and stories could fill the air. I'll also host workshops, she said, excitement bubbling within her. We could collaborate on special events like community cook-offs or school fundraisers. It's about building something together. Just as optimistic chatter flourished once more, Ella stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. I think it's important that we share our stories too. Life is hard, we all have struggles. A place where we can laugh and also talk about what we're going through would be incredible. Her heartfelt words sunk deep, causing the room to pause momentarily. Sarah felt a wave of emotion crash over her. Behind the sweetness of cookies and coffee, her neighbors revealed a shared vulnerability. Let us commit to this, Sarah declared, inspired. Let us make it real, together. But as cheers broke out around her, the lurking self-doubt crept back in. Deep down, she harbored the fear that her neighbors' enthusiasm might be mere surface-level support. What if, when the initial excitement faded, they forgot her vision? And just as Sarah began to ponder the wavering certainty, her phone buzzed from the kitchen. It was a message from Ella. I think we need to talk about what comes next. Something is happening with the cafe that may change everything. That twist of urgency tugged at her curiosity. What could be on the horizon that she hadn't anticipated? With hope mixing with anxiety, she felt the thrill of the unknown, wondering if this was the push she needed to propel her dreams toward reality. Sarah's heart raced as she stared at the message on her phone. Ella's words felt significant, like a queasy butterfly fluttering in her stomach. She excused herself from the lively group, squeezing through the excited faces and gestures animated in conversation. The noise faded slightly as she reached the kitchen. She leaned against the countertop, fingers trembling as she tapped a reply. What is going on? Moments later, Ella's phone call cut through the air. Sarah, you need to hear this in person. It was hard to ignore the urgency in her voice. Sarah hastened out the door, heading towards Ella's house just a few blocks away. With every step, her mind tossed between excitement and dread. Was it about the cafe? Was something wrong? Reaching Ella's door, she knocked swiftly, and it swung open almost immediately. Ella's expression was drawn tight, eyes wide. Come on in. As Sarah stepped inside, the familiar warmth of Ella's home enveloped her, but unease lingered in the air. What is happening? Sit down. Ella motioned to the worn couch where they had shared countless conversations over cups of coffee. There was something in Ella's demeanor, a gravity that instantly piqued Sarah's concern. Okay. She perched on the edge of the couch, trying to mask her anxiety. Ella joined her, a deep breath escaping her lips. It's about the cafe, Sarah. There's a group planning to come in and establish a chain coffee shop in that space. They've got their eyes set on our neighborhood. Shock rippled through Sarah. She swallowed hard, feeling the walls of her hopeful dreams start to close in. A chain? Ella nodded slowly, sadness etched in her features. Yeah. I overheard it at the market today. They're looking to capitalize on the growing interest. Her heart sank deeper, weighted by the unthinkable news. What do we do? We fight for what we believe in, Ella replied, strength rising in her voice. This cafe can be so much more than just coffee. It's our vision. Our community needs it to thrive. But even as she said that, doubt slithered through Sarah's mind. The energy of the earlier meeting shimmered in her memory, but could it withstand this blow? What if everyone gives in to convenience? Sarah feared, vulnerability lacing her words. What if they choose what's easy over what's meaningful? I can't, Ella interrupted gently, you won't know unless you confront it. We can't let them take our dreams without a fight. She felt a spark ignite within her at those words. Ella was right. Whatever happened next, she owed it to the community, to herself, to stand up for this dream they were building together. I need to gather everyone, Sarah realized, a new determination settling in her chest. If we can show that we're invested, that this cafe truly meets the needs of our neighbors, maybe we can turn this around. Excitement bubbled in Ella's eyes again. Exactly. Let us rally everyone. We need to plan a meeting and show them that this community won't be pushed around. As they discussed ideas, Sarah's nerves began to melt away. This was a challenge, but it could also be an opportunity to strengthen the very connections they had just begun to build. But just as thoughts flowed freely, a second message dinged from Sarah's phone. She glanced down and her heart dropped again. Doug had texted her, I told you this was a bad idea. You're wasting your time. Maybe it's time to rethink your plan. Her pulse quickened. Was this just a jab at her? The words twisted in her gut. Fear crept back in. Did Doug really think she couldn't do it? As she met Ella's encouraging gaze, Sarah knew she had a choice. Give up or rise to the occasion. With determination to push beyond the hurt, she decided, they would fight for their cafe. They would rewrite their story, and it was going to take everything she had. But as the plans began to unfold, a deeper question lingered in the back of her mind, how far would she need to push herself to protect what she loved? As they brainstormed ideas, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call from Tom. Sarah, we need to talk about those coffee shop plans. I think you should be aware of what's being said. The urgency of the moment gripped Sarah, pulling her into a whirlwind of uncertainty. What had she just stepped into? Sarah felt a knot tighten in her stomach as Tom's voice echoed in her ears. The gravity of his words painted a clear picture of a brewing storm, one that felt too big to handle alone. I'll be right there, she managed to say, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. She glanced at Ella, her heart racing. Tom wants to talk. He sounds worried. The weight of that conversation took hold, squeezing her chest. Ella nodded, her own concern growing. Meet him. Get all the information you can, she urged, her tone firm but caring. We can't wait on this. The sooner we confront it, the better. With a deep breath, Sarah stepped back outside into the cool night. The air had turned crisp, and streetlights glimmered like stars, but there was no comfort here tonight. Her legs moved automatically toward Tom's place. Each step felt heavier than the last, a mix of anticipation and dread swirling within her. When she arrived, Tom was waiting on the porch, his face lined with worry. I'm glad you came, he said, motioning for her to sit on the steps. The weight of their conversation hung in the air, and as she took a seat, she could feel herself teetering on the edge of a precipice. Thanks for coming, Tom. What is going on? He rubbed the back of his neck, a nervous gesture. I've been hearing a lot of chatter. It looks like those plans for the coffee chain are further along than we thought. They're not just interested, they're ready to buy out the space. They approached the landlord already. A chill ran through Sarah. So, they might actually take our cafe away? Tom nodded gravely. Yeah. And there's even talk about using aggressive tactics to push you guys out. It seems they think they can bully the community into supporting them. They believe that everyone will just fall back into their routines. Her heart dropped. Could it really be this simple for them? What do we do? Sarah felt small, helpless. Tom leaned forward, urgency etched in his features. You need to rally support. You've got to show that the community is behind you and Ella. Promise them a creative space, a place with heart and soul, something they can't just replicate in a chain store. Organize a protest if you have to. The words sparked something deep inside her. She could feel the fire of determination flicker back to life. You're right. If we can gather enough people, if we can make it clear what the cafe means to everyone, yes. You have to make your voices heard. He encouraged. The passion in his tone fanned the flames of Sarah's resolve. As they brainstormed, ideas spilled out like an overflowing pot of water. They discussed social media campaigns, community events, and even local artists who could help spread the word. Each suggestion felt like a step closer to reclaiming their vision, but there was still that lingering fear, that seed of doubt planted by Doug and the tight grip the coffee chain had on the neighborhood. What if no one showed up? What if it was all for nothing? Sarah. Tom's voice pulled her out of her spiraling thoughts. You have to believe that people want this cafe. They need it. I know, Sarah replied, her voice firming. I'll reach out to everyone. I have to believe in this. No, I have to believe in us. As she stood up from the steps, a flicker of hope ignited within her, igniting a sense of purpose in her chest. Thank you, Tom, she said gratefully. This means more than you know. He smiled, relief softening his features. Just don't let this scare you into giving up. Fight for it, and I'll be right behind you. With that, she stepped back into the night, heart pounding, ready to face this challenge head-on. As she pulled out her phone to start making calls, another message flashed across the screen. It was from Doug again. You can't stop progress, Sarah. Just give it up already. The pain of his words stung her, but within that sting, she felt a surge of defiance. I won't give up, she whispered to herself, strength blooming in her heart, but as she turned the corner, ready to gather her community, she couldn't shake the feeling that an unexpected twist was just around the corner. What if pushing against the tide meant risking more than just the cafe? What other stakes were at play that she hadn't seen yet? Sarah's phone buzzed again as she walked, pulling her back into the present. A message from Ella. Any updates? Are you okay? She took a deep breath, her fingers hovering over the screen. How could she explain the weight of what she'd just learned? Instead, she typed, I'll fill you in soon. Meeting the community tomorrow. With each step, determination crashed over her like ocean waves. The cafe was more than just a business, it was a lifeline, a gathering place for so many in the community. How could she let Doug and the coffee chain take that away? She felt the spark of responsibility igniting a fire within her. Arriving home, the warm light from her living room spilled out into the evening. She paused for a second, letting the comfort of familiarity wash over her. Inside, Ella was already pacing, full of nervous energy. Seeing the look on Sarah's face, her eyes widened. You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse. Tom says they're in talks to buy out the cafe. They're planning to push us out, Sarah said, her voice heavy with fear. Ella sat down, shock replacing her earlier energy. So it's real, they're really doing it. Sarah nodded, her own heart sinking. But we're fighting back. I'll take action. We start by rallying everyone, making sure they know what's at stake. They can't just take it away. Ella leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with a mix of fear and hope. What do you need from me? Help me formulate a plan, Sarah replied, feeling her resolve solidify. We need voices, signs, anything to show our community is behind us. In that moment, they launched into brainstorming mode, creating flyers and ideas for social media. They spread the word about a community meeting that would happen in just a few days, a gathering to save their beloved cafe. The atmosphere buzzed with collaboration and creativity, a testament to both the love for their space and the challenge they faced. As they worked late into the night, Sarah felt the layers of anxiety peel away, replaced by excitement and a sense of purpose. "Oh. What if we start a hashtag?" Ella suggested. "Something that encourages people to share their stories about the cafe." "Perfect. Savor Cave," Sarah exclaimed, the idea igniting more ideas around it. A photo contest, stories about what the cafe meant to them, even shout-outs from local businesses. But her heart still tugged with uncertainty. Would it be enough? Could they mobilize enough people to stand against Doug and the corporation? Just as they felt momentum building, Sarah's phone buzzed again. Another message from Doug, this time more intimidating: "You're making a mistake. Don't say I didn't warn you." Fear crept back in, but Sarah shunned it, determined to channel it into fuel for her fight. She needed to believe that this was about more than just a cafe, it was about community, about identity. What had begun as a simple dream had now morphed into a mission to protect everything she valued. With the meeting looming ahead, Sarah clasped her hands, breathing deep. "This means the world to me, Ella. We can't let them take it." Ella smiled reassuringly, squeezing Sarah's arm. "We won tea. You know everyone's going to support us." As they prepared for the next steps, Sarah couldn't shake her earlier feeling of impending change. Would rallying the community around her be enough? What surprises lay ahead for them as they fought for their beloved spot? The next chapter of their journey awaited them, and it was filled with uncertainty that made her heart race. What if the greatest hurdle wasn't just saving the cafe, but discovering unexpected truths about her neighbors and herself? The next day arrived, filled with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting stripes of light across Sarah's living room. She sat at her kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a steaming cup of coffee, the comforting aroma stirring her senses. Ella was already there, organizing stacks of printed flyers with a fierceness that matched Sarah's own resolve. "All right," Ella said, pulling her hair into a messy bun, "let us get these out before the meeting tonight. We can't afford to lose any time." "Absolutely." Sarah nodded, her determination solid. They split up the flyers, planning to distribute them all around town. One by one, the pieces of paper transformed from mere words to symbols of hope. As they ventured out, Sarah soon realized that her heart pounded louder than the excitement of the task. The cafe was their heart, and she needed to get everyone to feel its pulse. The first stop was a local grocery store, where they grabbed a moment to catch a breath. "Do you think they know how much this place means?" Sarah asked, glancing around at the familiar faces of customers who passed by, oblivious to the looming threat. "Some may not," Ella replied, her brow creasing with concern. "But that's why we're doing this. It's about reminding them." With renewed strength, they headed to the town square, where a small farmer's market was bustling with families and laughter. As they set up a table, Sarah couldn't help but notice how the mornings were filled with warmth and connection. Old friends greeted each other, children ran around giggling, and neighbors caught up over fresh produce. This, she thought, was what the cafe represented, a place that didn't just fuel the body but filled the soul. "Sarah!" called out a voice. It was Tom, her friend and the cafe's baker. His smile was a blend of excitement and concern. "I heard about the meeting. Can I help?" "Please," she responded. "We need all the support we can get. It's more than coffee, it's a community haven." Tom nodded eagerly, jumping into action as he helped distribute flyers. Other vendors soon joined in, spreading the word like wildfire. They shared stories of laughter over coffee and cupcakes, reminding everyone of the memories etched into the cafe's walls. As the evening approached, Sarah's pulse quickened. The community meeting, set to be hosted right in the cafe, buzzed with potential. How many would show up? Would they find their voices? She slipped into the cafe, her sanctuary, and found Ella and Tom prepping the space. The chairs were arranged, snacks were laid out, and the atmosphere was electrifying with an air of optimism. just as they expected the first attendees, Sarah's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a group message from the community, bursting with support. "Can't wait to be there. Savor café," it read, along with photographs and messages filled with love for the space, but just as she began to bask in the warmth of it, another flash of doubt flickered through her mind. What if this didn't go as planned? What if Doug showed up to intimidate them or, worse, to undermine their fight? Ella caught her eye, sensing Sarah's turmoil. "You're doing great, Sarah. Trust in what you've built here. Everyone is rooting for you." Feeling the power of unity swirling in the air, Sarah took a deep breath. It was now or never. If they wanted to save their café, they needed to come together and fight a fight for everything they loved. As the first person walked through the door, Sarah felt hope flickering in her chest like a candle in the dark. She smiled broadly, ready to share, ready to unite. Little did she know, a twist awaited them that would shake everything they thought they knew about their beloved café and the community they cherished. Would the truth about Doug's plans come to light in the midst of their fight? As Sarah stood at the front of the café, her heart swelled with anticipation. The room was filling up with familiar faces, each one carrying a piece of the community she loved. The buzz of laughter mixed with the aroma of coffee, wrapping her in warmth. Tommy and Emma buzzed with excitement as they dashed about, their joy filling the café like sunbeams. People filled the seats quickly, and Sarah felt the nerves settle into a steady rhythm. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steady but bright. Their eyes focused on her, and she took a deep breath. "We're here to talk about something that means so much to all of us. This café isn't just about coffee, it's about community, family, and support." Tom sat in the front, nodding and grinning encouragingly. Ella waved at the crowd, raising her coffee cup like a trophy, winning smiles and cheers from the others. Sarah felt that first spark of confidence ignite within her. She continued, "We all know a chain coffee shop is trying to move in on our space. They think they can take away everything our café stands for, but we won't let them." A chorus of cheers erupted from the crowd, igniting flames of determination across the room. "This café is about us, our stories, and our families." Just as laughter and claps resounded, the door swung open, and Doug stepped through, his expression a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Sarah's heart raced. He was here. Did he come to undermine them? She felt anxiety wash over her, but she remembered Ella's words, reminding her that a fight for a dream could transform fear into strength. "Sarah," Doug called out, his voice cutting through the energy, "what do you really think you can do? You can't take down a corporation." The energy shifted, tension ebbing and flowing like waves. The crowd turned toward him, curiosity bubbling against the backdrop of their support. "This is about us, Doug." Sarah found her voice stronger than before. "It's about standing up for what we believe in. This café is a reflection of our community, not just a business." Doug crossed his arms, but a ripple of support surged through the room. "You see, Doug," chimed in Tom, "this place isn't just a coffee shop. It's where friendships grow, where families unite. You might have a big corporation, but we have heart." The passion in Tom's voice wove itself through the crowd as they rallied around Sarah. A few neighbors propped up signs they had made, each displaying heartfelt messages about community and love for the café. Feeling the tide turn, Sarah's heart pounded with excitement. "We need to show them we are together," she encouraged. "Let us organize events, plan social media campaigns, and share our stories. Let us show them that we are more than just a neighborhood, we are a family." Cheers erupted once more, voices melding into a symphony of hope. As she spoke, she could see Doug's expression waver. The doubts in his eyes reflected uncertainty now. No longer was he just a voice of the status quo, he was confronted with the very soul of Maplewood, a community ready to stand strong. As the meeting ebbed and flowed, Sarah watched as conversations unfolded. Neighbors eagerly signed up to help, exchanging ideas, collating support, and rekindling connections. "I'm in for a bake sale," Lisa shouted, excitement crackling in her voice. "Count me in for organizing a community picnic." Someone else added, uplifting the atmosphere. By the end of the evening, it was palpable. Hope blossomed like flowers breaking through winter frost. A vibrant plan was taking shape, a tapestry woven from shared hopes. But then, an unexpected twist arrived. Ella approached with news that quickened Sarah's heartbeat. "I heard from a connection at the market," she said, a mixture of urgency and excitement on her face. "The bakery down on Maple Street is interested in collaborating. They want to help us oppose the chain." A wave of exhilaration washed over Sarah, cleansing the remnants of doubt lingering in her thoughts. This was it, a real chance. Let us reach out to them immediately. As the night wound down, Sarah looked around at her neighbors, her heart overflowing with gratitude. They were not just fighting for coffee, they were restoring the life that the café fostered. The café wasn't just a dream. It was a lifeline, a beacon of love, resilience, and community. In that moment, surrounded by the camaraderie they built, Sarah felt a transformation within herself. She was no longer simply a single mom juggling kids and adversity, she was a leader, a beacon of hope, forging a new identity, fueled by those who rallied around her. With a determined smile, she addressed the crowd one last time. "Together, we'll create a space that's more than just coffee. We'll embrace every family, every story. This café will be a piece of home for all of us. An isn't that worth fighting for." As they cheered, Sarah felt brave, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The winds of change had shifted, and together, they would reclaim their space. Just then, as the last echoes of laughter lingered, Doug quietly slipped out, leaving the room rejuvenated with spirit and purpose. What had started as a fleeting vision had morphed into a mission that promised deeper connections than ever before. This journey had transformed them all, revealing the heart of a community that stood resilient, ready to embrace a future filled with promise, unity, and love. Now, as they gathered their final thoughts, a free spirit of determination enveloped the room, and Sarah knew they would forge ahead. No matter what obstacles stood against them, it was time to rise together. This was just the beginning, an unquenchable fire burning bright. And as they bid each other good night, ready to tackle what came next, a call echoed within her heart, urging her to seize this opportunity. With uplifting momentum coursing through their veins, they set forth with renewed hope. This was for them, for family, and for a future bursting with possibility. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to stay updated on future incredible adventures. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and keep amazing stories coming. Comment below how this transformation made you feel and share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this inspiring journey. Don't wait, not even one more second. Your support makes all the difference.